You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. Chase Sr. here with you. And as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. Coming up, this changes everything for Saquon Barkley and the Birds going into 2025. A good conversation coming up. But let's get the good vibes in the air. Saquon Barkley is on the cover of Madden. We don't want the Madden curse to actually be a reality for Saquon this year. He's going to be 28 years old, 29 in February, led the NFL in touches last year. We know how running backs can really age overnight. So if you want Saquon to stay healthy in 2025, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Let's get the good vibes in the air once more. All right, so in 2024, Saquon Barkley, as we know, had a magical season for the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Led the NFL in rushing yards with 2,005. He set the franchise record for rushing yards in Week 13 of the regular season. It was incredible how quickly he was able to set that mark and how impressive it was that he was able to accomplish what he accomplished in a short amount of time and for the entire season, regular season and playoffs combined. Saquon also set the NFL record for the most rushing yards in a single season, regular season and playoffs combined. And what really stands out with what Saquon did last year, the home run ability. Every time he got his hands on the ball, you held your breath because you knew there was an opportunity that we were going to witness something spectacular, something special, something that could turn the course of a game. Saquon had 6 touchdowns of 60-plus yards last year. That, too, set an NFL record. And think about this, too, right? He played in 16 of 17 regular season games. Then he played in the wild card round, divisional round, NFC Championship game, and in the Super Bowl. And so that is 20 combined games for Saquon Barkley. He ran for at least 100 yards in 14 of 20 games during the 2024 campaign. He went over 100 yards in 3 of 4 playoff games. And he had a plethora of legendary and memorable plays. The backwards hurdle, the performance against the Saints, and the long run, which helped to win the game against New Orleans Saints, which really kind of, in a way, saved the Eagles season. You can go down the list and count and remember and recall some of the legendary plays that Saquon was a part of. Now, here's where things start to get a little bit hairy. And here's where things start to get maybe a little bit concerning for Saquon, considering he had the workload that he had last year. He dealt with the injuries that he dealt with while with the New York Giants and combined with his age. He led the NFL in touches with 345. That was 50 more than his previous high, which happened to be in the 2022 season with the New York Giants. Now, he won Offensive Player of the Year. He was top 5 in MVP voting. I think he should have won MVP, but it doesn't damper the fact that Saquon, what he did last year, might not ever be duplicated in the history of this Eagles organization, maybe in the history of the National Football League. But Saquon, here's the reality, is entering year 8. And he's entering year 8 at 28 years old. As I noted, going to be 29 in February. He turned 28 the day of Super Bowl 59 against the Chiefs in New Orleans. There's always a natural concern with how he or running backs will hold up because of the workload, the tread on the tires, the injury history at the position, and how it really has been crazy in the instances of some running backs, how they can just become cooked and washed overnight. But the Eagles this offseason and Saquon have done something different. They have done some research. They have studied up on this. They have pulled out all of the stops so that Saquon can be strong for this year, so that he can stay healthy, so that he can be refreshed, so that he can bounce back off of the workload that he had on his shoulders and on his plate during the 2024 season. Fascinating insight from Tim McManis, who covers the Eagles for ESPN. And he said this, and we'll run through it here. There was a time that Philadelphia Eagles running back Saquon Barkley said when he would see clips of Derrick Henry running hills or Christian McCaffrey working out and feel compelled to spring into action to keep pace, thinking, I've got to go. The competitive nature remains, but the circumstances are different this offseason with Barkley coming off a campaign in which he shattered his previous high in carries. And so he is instead listening to a chorus of confidants, a group that includes Eagles coaches, mentors, and a couple of Hall of Fame backs who are advising him to take a more measured approach to his training to allow his body to heal. You just got to be smarter, right? You have your moments where you go in there and you grind, you push it, Saquon said, but the majority of those days is just mobility, conditioning, do all of the things to get your body in shape to perform at a high level. It was a lot of workload last year, but my body feels great. So that's the most important thing. And this difference in approach for Saquon has led to him saying a couple of eye-opening things. He says, I feel great. He feels as though he is just entering the prime of his career. That would be huge news for the Eagles in 2025, but also beyond. And Saquon has a lot of lofty goals that he is trying to accomplish. And he said this during spring practices, quote, I want to be the best running back to ever play. That's my motivation. The highs for Saquon in his career have been of the ultimate highs, right? But because he played on bad teams with the Giants, because he ran into injury issues, if his career were to end now, probably wouldn't be a Hall of Famer. But if he can continue on this trajectory and continue to come close to what he did in 2024 and do that for a couple of more years, he could be looked at in this stratosphere. And it could all start with his approach to this offseason, which could then help him stay healthy for this upcoming year and for the foreseeable future. More on that coming up here in just a moment, but I do want to pop up today's poll question. How many yards will Saquon Barkley rush for in 2025? Give me your best guesses down in the comment section right now. Got to give a shout out to our sponsor for today's show, our friends at Fanatics. And if you love America and you love the Eagles, after all, Philadelphia is America's birthplace, get your Eagles 4th of July shirts right now. It's a very simple process. All you have to do, plug in that link down below, chatsports.com/Eagles4th. That link will take you to Fanatics. These shirts are available on sale, only limited time only though. So hop on board while this deal is still hot. You can rep the birds, you can rep America, and have something to wear at your 4th of July barbecue if you're hanging out by the pool. Plus, it just looks good all the time. Chatsports.com/Eagles4th. I'll put that link down below in the show notes and attached to the pinned comment of today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, more from Tim McManis on the offseason approach for Saquon Barkley. Barkley, 28, consulted head coach Nick Sirianni, running backs coach Jamal Singleton, and a pair of former greats, Marshall Faulk, Edgerrin James, among others, who all had similar advice for him. The upcoming weeks will be a little bit different for Barkley as well. He explained that in previous years, he would try to come into training camp ready for week 1. This time around, he'll be conscious not to overdo it during the team's down period and will allow camp to help work him into proper shape for the start of the season. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Eagles signed Saquon Barkley to an extension. It was a historic contract extension as well, making him the highest paid running back in the history of the NFL and adding onto the contract that he had previously signed. And so I think it's important for the Eagles to manage his workload a little bit. And it's important for Saquon to understand that as well, because Saquon is so pivotal to the Eagles' success. A Saquon-less Eagles offense would severely impact Philadelphia's success as a team for this year, as they look to become defending Super Bowl champions. But if Saquon Barkley can continue to stay healthy, if he can make this prime last a few years and he can produce to the level that he's capable of, I'm not asking him to go out, and nobody is, to duplicate what he did in 2024, but can he continue to be available, productive, stay on the field, and healthy for this Eagles team? Because if he can, this changes everything for for the Philadelphia Eagles, their Super Bowl window, and their ability to be a consistent contender, because he is a one-of-one player who's one of the most dynamic players in the entire National Football League. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram, by the way. I'm always talking Eagles here on YouTube, always talking Birds on social media as well, so hit me up over there at Chase_Senior.